The concept of subconscious attachment is one of the most fascinating areas of modern relationship psychology, operating entirely within the quiet, unedited spaces of human interaction. While conscious communication allows individuals to carefully select their words, craft their public personas, and mask their true intentions, the subconscious mind possesses no such filter. It acts as an absolute mirror to a person's deepest emotional realities. When a man begins to develop a profound psychological bond with you, his internal, emotional landscape undergoes a massive shift long before his conscious mind can fully articulate or even recognize the change. This deep-seated emotional anchoring bypasses intellectual rationale, manifesting instead through a complex series of involuntary physiological responses, micro-expressions, and subtle behavioral adjustments that speak volumes to an observant eye. Understanding these hidden signs requires looking past overt romantic grand gestures and focusing instead on the microscopic, reflexive behaviors that occur during everyday moments. Evolutionary biology and behavioral science reveal that human beings are deeply wired to physically align themselves with what they value most. When a high level of attachment forms, the nervous system begins to recognize a specific person as a primary source of emotional safety, comfort, and survival. Consequently, the body begins to act on its own accord to protect, proximity seek, and harmonize with that individual. This manifests in ways that are impossible to fake consistently, such as the involuntary dilation of the pupils when looking at someone precious, the instinctual mirroring of physical gestures to build unspoken rapport, or the reflexive tendency to shield a partner from external disruptions in a chaotic environment. Furthermore, this psychological integration deeply alters cognitive processing and linguistic habits. A man who is subconsciously attached will find his memory mechanics shifting. His brain naturally prioritizes the storage of minute details concerning your life, treating your casual preferences with the same importance as critical survival data. Even his speech patterns evolve, seamlessly transitioning from individualistic terminology to collective pronouns, signaling that his internal blueprint of the future has completely restructured itself to include you as a permanent fixture. He doesn't plan these shifts. They are the natural byproduct of an emotional bond that has taken deep root beneath the surface of his awareness. Recognizing these 15 distinct behavioral pillars provides an invaluable roadmap for navigating modern dating dynamics with clarity and confidence. By learning to read these silent, nonverbal indicators, you gain a profound understanding of his true emotional investment, allowing you to see past temporary doubts or spoken hesitations. When these signs manifest consistently over time, they form an undeniable mosaic of high emotional attachment. It serves as definitive proof that you are no longer just a casual presence in his life, but a deeply ingrained anchor within his subconscious mind, fundamentally altering how he moves, speaks, and views the world around him. The involuntary lean and spatial proximity. When a man is subconsciously attached to you, his physical body will naturally defy the standard boundaries of personal space. This behavioral cue, deeply rooted in evolutionary psychology, manifests as an involuntary gravitational pull towards you during conversations. Even in a noisy or crowded room, you will notice him tilting his torso, neck, and shoulders in your direction, completely closing the emotional and physical gap between you. This subverbal behavior indicates that his nervous system feels entirely safe and deeply comforted by your presence. He does not calculate this movement. It is a primal urge to optimize his proximity to the person he values most. By minimizing the physical distance, his subconscious mind is actively attempting to establish an exclusive, intimate bubble that shuts out the rest of the world, prioritizing your voice and energy above everything else. Prolonged pupil dilation and unbroken eye contact. The eyes serve as a direct window into the subconscious mind, completely bypassing conscious control or manipulation. When he looks at you and is deeply attached, his pupils will visibly dilate, a physiological response, triggered by the brain's release of oxytocin and dopamine when encountering a highly desired stimulus. Alongside this chemical reaction, his gaze will linger far longer than standard social etiquette dictates. He will lock eyes with you during shared moments, holding your gaze even during comfortable silences. This unbroken eye contact is his mind's way of absorbing your facial expressions, creating a deep emotional anchor and establishing a profound sense of mutual vulnerability. It signifies that he is fully present in the moment with you, entirely captivated, and subconsciously seeking a deeper, psychological connection that words alone cannot fully convey. Subconscious mirroring of gestures and speech patterns. Mirroring is one of the most definitive psychological indicators of deep rapport, emotional alignment, and subconscious attachment. Without making a conscious decision to do so, a man who is bonded to you will begin to match your physical posture, hand gestures, and behavioral pacing. If you take a sip of your drink, cross your legs, or lean back in your chair, he will likely replicate the exact same movement just a few moments later. This mirroring behavior extends cleanly into verbal communication as well. He will naturally adopt your specific slang, mimic your unique vocal cadence, and mirror your emotional energy. His brain is essentially reflecting your behavior back to you to signal safety, establish harmony, and show that you are entirely in sync, building an unspoken bridge of absolute comfort. Protective physical positioning in crowded spaces. An attached man instinctively shifts into a protective role when navigating the outside world with you, driven by a deeply ingrained, subconscious desire to ensure your safety. In busy, chaotic, or crowded environments, you will notice him placing himself between you and the crowd, acting as a physical shield. He might gently place a hand on the small of your back to guide you through a dense gathering, walk on the traffic side of the sidewalk, or scan the room to monitor external disruptions. This behavior is not about dominance or control. Rather, it is a primal, nurturing reflex rooted in high emotional attachment. His subconscious mind views you as an incredibly valuable part of his life that must be fiercely protected, making your physical comfort and security his top priority. The instinctive micro-smile upon entry, the absolute honesty of a micro-expression, reveals a man's true emotional state long before his conscious mind can filter his reaction. The exact moment you enter a room or step into his field of vision, an involuntary, genuine smile will flash across his face. Even if he is experiencing a stressful day, feeling exhausted, or deeply engaged in a serious conversation, his expression will instantly soften the second he spots you. This immediate micro-smile is a pure, unedited reflex triggered by a sudden surge of joy in his brain at your arrival. It serves as undeniable proof that your mere presence acts as a powerful, positive stimulus to his emotional well-being, instantly shifting his mood and highlighting just how deeply his happiness is tied to seeing you. Consistent preening and grooming behaviors. When a man is subconsciously attached, his primal instinct to appear attractive to his chosen partner takes full control whenever you are nearby. The moment you walk into the room or sit across from him, he will engage in rapid, unconscious grooming habits. You will see him smoothing down his shirt, fixing his hair, adjusting his collar, or checking his posture to stand taller. These micro-behaviors are entirely involuntary reactions, driven by a desire to present the absolute best version of himself to you. His brain recognizes your presence as highly significant, triggering an immediate impulse to ensure he looks presentable and appealing in your eyes. It is a subtle, non-verbal sign of deep respect and attraction, showing that your opinion of his physical appearance matters immensely to his subconscious mind, even if he acts completely casual on the surface. Reflexive checking for your reaction first. A powerful indicator of emotional bonding is where a person looks, when a group laughs or reacts to something, when someone tells a joke, or when something unexpected happens in a social setting. His first instinct will be to glance directly at you. Before he even processes his own complete reaction, his eyes will seek out yours to see if you are laughing, smiling, or sharing the same emotion. This split-second reflex happens because you have become his primary emotional anchor and point of reference. His subconscious mind prioritizes your perspective above everyone else's in the room. He is constantly seeking validation, shared understanding, and emotional alignment with you, ensuring that his experience of the world matches yours in real time. Unconscious separation. Anxiety during brief absences. When a deep psychological attachment is present, even a temporary physical separation can trigger subtle, subconscious signs of unease in a man. If you step away to use the restroom, grab a drink, or speak to someone else at a gathering, his behavior will visibly shift. He might become suddenly restless, check his phone repeatedly, look toward the door you exited, or show a noticeable drop in his conversational energy with others. The moment you return, you will see an immediate wave of relaxation wash over his body language. This minor anxiety is not about possession or jealousy. It is simply a reflection of his comfort zone being temporarily disrupted. His subconscious mind views you as his safe harbor, and your temporary absence creates a brief, instinctual void that he eagerly waits to fill. Spontaneous recalling of minute personal details. When a man's mind is deeply attached to you, his brain treats every piece of information you share as highly critical data, storing it in his long-term memory. He will spontaneously bring up minor details, casual remarks, or passing preferences that you mentioned weeks or even months ago. Whether it is your favorite childhood candy, a specific song you love, or a small worry you shared in passing, his ability to recall these details will often surprise you. This happens because his emotional attachment naturally sharpens his focus and active listening skills whenever you speak. While he might easily forget standard daily tasks or conversations with others, his subconscious prioritizes everything connected to you, making him remember the small things that even you might have forgotten you said. The open body language and feet pointed toward you, directional orientation, is one of the most honest forms of body language because people rarely think about where their feet or torso are pointing. When you are together, his body will remain entirely open and accessible to you, completely free of defensive barriers like crossed arms or turned shoulders. Most importantly, his feet will consistently point directly towards you, even if he is looking or talking to someone else nearby. In behavioral psychology, the feet naturally point toward the destination or person the brain is most interested in or drawn to by keeping his body entirely unblocked and his alignment locked onto you. His physical form is openly declaring his absolute interest, comfort, and undeniable subconscious attachment to your presence. Frequent involuntary physical touch and micro contacts. When a man is subconsciously attached, his body will constantly seek out ways to establish physical contact without any conscious intent or agenda. These movements manifest as gentle micro contacts, a brief brush of his shoulder against yours, his hand lingering slightly too long when passing you, an object, or a reassuring touch on your arm during conversation. These fleeting touches are completely distinct from overt sexual advances. Rather, they are comforting, grounding gestures driven by a primal need for physical reassurance. His nervous system is naturally drawn to your warmth, and these subtle actions help him feel securely anchored to you. His subconscious mind uses these brief moments of physical contact to reinforce the emotional bond, reduce stress, and silently communicate that he feels entirely safe, connected, and at peace whenever he is by your side. Defensive posturing against outside interruptions. An attached man will instinctively guard the sanctity of the private conversation or space you are sharing together. The moment a third party or outside distraction threatens to break your mutual focus, his body language will subtly shift into a defensive stance. You will notice him slightly squaring his shoulders to block out the rest of the room, keeping his gaze locked tightly onto you, or answering external interruptions quickly so he can immediately return his attention to your conversation. This behavior is a subconscious protective mechanism designed to preserve the emotional intimacy and flow you have built in that moment. His brain prioritizes the current connection with you over any outside stimulus, viewing the shared time as highly valuable and treating any sudden interruption as an unwanted disruption to his emotional safe zone. Vocal tone shifts to a lower, warmer frequency. The human voice undergoes significant, uncontrollable changes depending on our level of comfort and emotional attachment to the listener. When a man speaks to someone he is deeply bonded with, his vocal cords will naturally relax, causing his voice to drop to a lower, softer, and much warmer frequency. This subtle vocal shift is an evolutionary trait aimed at projecting safety, trust, and intimacy to a desired partner. You will notice a distinct contrast between the booming, energetic tone he uses when joking around with his friends and the gentle, resonant cadence he adopts the moment he turns to speak directly to you. This vocal softening is a pure reflection of his internal emotional state. His subconscious mind recognizes that he no longer needs to project or perform, allowing his true vulnerability to shine through his words. The collective shift, seamlessly using we instead of I. One of the most profound psychological indicators of deep attachment is a shift in linguistic choices, specifically how a person frames their thoughts and future plans. Without realizing he is doing it, a man who is subconsciously attached will stop speaking solely as an isolated individual. Instead of using singular pronouns like I, me, or my, he will naturally start using collective terms like we, us, and our when discussing weekend plans, opinions, or future goals. This effortless vocabulary change indicates that His brain has completely reconfigured his self-identity to include you as a permanent partner. He no longer views his life through a solitary lens. His subconscious mind has fully integrated you into his personal world, viewing the two of you as a unified, inseparable team navigating life together. The lingering look when parting ways. The final moments of an interaction provide a clear window into the depth of a man's subconscious. Emotional attachment. When it is time to say goodbye or head in separate directions, his departure will never feel rushed or abrupt. Instead, he will exhibit a distinct lingering behavior, extending the farewell with extra conversation, slow steps, or a gaze that firmly holds yours until the very last second. Even after you turn to walk away, if you look back, you will often catch him standing still, watching you leave with a soft, reflective expression. This hesitation to break proximity happens because his subconscious mind experiences a genuine reluctance to detach from your presence. The lingering look is a silent, non-verbal admission that leaving you leaves a temporary void in his day, making him want to stretch out the connection as long as possible.